Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we can be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. Welcome to another edition of the Pick and Downs podcast. I'm your host per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. I'm in the midst of the long rookie draft in the Dynasty League, man. And guy reached Cam Ward, fourth overall, ahead of Travis Hunter. Oh
wow.
Couldn't believe it.
I'm actually not mad because
I'm not mad too, but it's not super flex. So in Dynasty, quarterbacks, they have value. But, this guy is the one that is coming in fresh. So he's starting off. He needs a quarterback. His quarterback was Murray, and he's losing him. But a dude traded everybody, and he got he had picks 101, 107, 109, 201, and 203. He literally had, I think he got Travis Hunt. Well, he took Gentee, then Travis Hunter, Tyler Warren, and then he took Quinshawn. Fell to the second round.
Okay. Yeah. Not surprising.
And then he got Matthew Golden. So he's stacked on the rookie front, right? So that's a strategy you can take. And I am not there. I don't have a pick until 302, so I'm trying to find some diamonds in the rough, man. It's hard. It's really hard.
That's not a diamond in the rough with that pick.
I'm not believing the I know Junkins went second, but I'm just not buying the Jerome Ford as bell cow one. He'll be good for like 3 weeks, and then Junkins or whoever will take over. I'm not buying it. So
but Junkins fell. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick in Dynasty, and then he fell to the 13th pick pretty much because of the whole allegations, I should say.
Yeah.
Unproven.
Tough look. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. But especially with rookies, we'll be talking about them in a couple of weeks. But it is there is some value with certain guys depending on situations, time frames in terms of guys starting off the season hot or fresh or whatever, and then next thing you know, that rookie comes in and is basically dominating from week 5 or week 6 on. So it just depends on your certain needs of your teams and who you're going to reach for. But today we will be talking about fantasy receivers. This is always highly contested, highly debated because it just kind of feels like over the last couple of years, even though shout out to Saquon, a couple guys, they kind of brought the bell cow back for the running backs, and they still have their RB1s. We are still in a phase where I feel like people are reaching on receivers, and sometimes it's beneficial. So I kind of wanted to get some of the guys' thoughts of some receivers that we think are going to be outreaching their ADP. And people, who are you eyeing on this?
This is tough, man. There's a couple rookies that people could consider, but the obvious pick, I think, that everybody's been talking about in the fantasy nerd community for months now is Calvin Ridley, man. I mean, he's like wide receiver 30, obvious minimal target competition with Tyler Lockett there. They did draft that rookie, I believe, out of Stanford, Alec Iomanor. I actually really like him, potentially trying to grab him in Dynasty. But at the time, this is Calvin Ridley's best quarterback he's had since Matt Ryan. And I think this is, something to watch. So that's kind of the obvious pick. But I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on a guy that, sure, I've seen some camp footage and, take that for a grain of salt, whatever you want. But, man, Tet McMillan, he's real nice, man. I think he's wide receiver 27.5 point PPR ADP. I know this hinges on Bryce Young a little bit, but we saw really good flashes of him last year towards the end of the season. Obviously, you want to talk about another minimal target competition. Yeah, Xavier Legette, he's a cute story, funny guy, gets a lot of media attention. Jalen Coker, I do like him as well. I just think it's a little bit too crowded now of a wide receiver room when they spent the 8th overall pick on McMillan. So, he's a big body. He's the prototype, outside wide receiver, can go up and get jump balls. Kind of a little bit of a Mike Evans type. Not saying he's going to have that level of Hall of Fame career necessarily, but I just think at wide receiver 27, you're pretty much projecting him to be the average 10-man league. That's your third receiver. And if he's my third receiver, I'm pretty damn happy, especially in a draft that you might want to be targeting running backs, potentially a top-tier quarterback early on. Well, that there's some depth in the back end of wide receiver, but, some of these guys, by the time drafts come, you're going to have to reach on them because, I think a lot of people are on the same trains. They're listening to the same podcasts, reading the same articles, tweets, etc. So McMillan, I think a lot of people are going to be high on him. I'm more personally higher on him than Golden for obvious reasons. I just think the Packers wide receiver room is cursed for production and fantasy. They have quality players, but it's really hard to be the one dude standing out. So the rookie that I really like outside of Jaden Higgins is Tevin.
I love him.
But I don't know if you wanted to talk Higgins, Sean, so I was going to save it for someone.
Nah. I ain't gonna. Yeah, but I'm with you on the rookie guys. Those are two guys I really like a lot.
I like you talking about the rookies because my guy's also a rookie. Because something I noticed this year in ADP for rookies, usually there's some guys, rookie receivers pops up because that's like the sexy pick, right? The rookie wide receiver, especially a first round rookie wide receivers. Yeah, exactly. Last year, Marvin, Malik Neighbors, we never seen rookie wide receivers go that high. Yep. And we're looking at this year. You mentioned a good one. I'm gonna bring him up. Emeka Egbuka. I'm telling you, Chris Godwin off injury, right? So we don't know how long he's going to take to come in. He's going to come in at the slot, the big receiver, a little Amon-Ra St. Brownish in the slot, man. And if you look at his career, Ohio State, guy was an absolute stud, man. And he balled out with other receivers.
He's smart as hell too.
Yeah. I'm just like, he played with great players. Obviously, he had great quarterback play. But if you look at his numbers in college, are ridiculous. And he's going into an offense led by Baker Mayfield, where, dang, Vegas loves Baker Mayfield. Vegas loves the Tampa Bay offense this year again. Vegas got Baker Mayfield throwing pretty much having another career season again at 3,000, close to 4,000 yards. Like, that's the expectations for Baker Mayfield to do pretty much. Like last year, I think it was definitely more of an outlier type year because that was just something special that he did. But Baker Mayfield right now is projected over 3,800 passing yards and 31 passing touchdowns. And who's going to be the recipient? It's going to be Mike Evans. It's going to be the rook. Godwin with the injury. I'm going to put a little asterisk on him. So I don't know how his situation is going to be, especially coming back from a catastrophic injury. But he's kind of like taking his job because he's a slot guy. So he plays the same role in the offense. You talking Baker Mayfield already raving about this guy in practice, how he's one of the smartest football players and how this guy could probably be an immediate impact guy as an Ohio State receiver. So you're going to an offense where Baker Mayfield has the green light to throw the football. And I know Bucky Irving, he had a nice season, but I think he's going to be more of an aerial assault rather than a rushing attack as their first option. So you're talking about a guy where, like Baker Mayfield, 3,800 yards, 31 passing touchdowns. Those are his projections for this year. That makes him, based on the pass game, a top four quarterback this year.
Top four quarterback? Yeah.
For passing stats, receiving, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. So if you get a rookie, and I don't know if this ADP is going to change that much, but right now he is ADP on ESPN 130th. 130th. That's a free pick.
I think Godwin is the key point there.
That's
because
the
if Godwin's playing,
catastrophic injury. So he's getting older too, coming off a knee. Like this is a great opportunity for this guy to take his job because first round draft capital, Ohio State receiver, going to a position where pretty much the previous slot guy is out and he might not play in the beginning of the year significant minutes. So this guy's got a perfect opportunity in an offense where he's going to see a lot of targets. And I love Mike Evans, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Maybe this is the year Mike Evans dips just a little. I'm not just saying that I ain't ever counting out Mike Evans for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns because that's what he's been doing for his entire career. But if he gets a little less target share and give their young rookie a little more targets, you look at the ADP, man, you're getting him for free right now. I'm kind of shocked. Like I feel like there's going to be a massive ADP movement for Mecca, but right now, if you get him at ADP 130th, that's free. That's free money right there.
What's crazy is he's going really high in dynasties, right? And rightfully so, because Mike Evans is a free agent after this year, right? Chris Godwin, we'll see how he turns out post-injury. So, in a year's time, this guy could be the number one wideout on this team. So, Zoo, you might be a little early on this one for like true fantasy production, but taking a flyer in the 12th, 13th round on him, I think is a great
free pick, man.
But I just think a lot of people are going to have the same idea. I think that's the
Ohio State receiver too. I mean, you can't. I mean, I know
the pedigrees.
I know Marvin was a little whatever, but the thing is, there was a reason why there was no 40 numbers on Marvin. Like I think Emeka, him, JSN, a lot of those guys, they tested out well. So again, 12, 13 round free pick, whatever. I think that's almost a guarantee he smashes that because, like I said, Baker is kind of proven he's a good quarterback. So I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. for me, this is more of a guy who's a bona fide number one, but I think people think of him just perception-wise. It's like, oh, he's a steady number one, but is he like a true, like, hey, he can maybe be a top 3-4 guy? And that guy to me is Drake London. I almost want to guarantee he's top 5. And I almost want to kind of push it to, I think he could be top 4 range in terms of, this guy at the end of the season could be top 4. Part of the reason why I think that is, again, right when Michael Penix went into the starting lineup, it was obvious, and I get he was a young receiver or a young quarterback, and it's like, I'm just looking for my number one option. That might have been what a lot of that was. And a lot of people, too, are kind of looking at how he got Kyle Pitts involved. Like, maybe he has an uptick. That's fine, and if you want to take a chance on that, you can have a blast. But for me, I'm looking at, outside of Bijan, who obviously is going to get his targets and going to get his carries, that is the only opposition with Drake London in terms of, this is a guy who's going to be pretty much their number one option. Yeah. And Michael Penix, to me, is a guy who has a live arm. You're not going to really have to worry about him rushing outside the pocket and taking away a couple of targets he can find. No, he's going to sit in the pocket and make those throws. And just looking and being like, okay, let me see if I can like look at instances where it looks like his target share is going to be high. In the last 3 games, I think the third to last game, he had 8 targets, but then it went from 8 to 13 to 18. On top of that, he had 2 100-yard games. Now, some will say I think it was against Carolina and Washington. I know Washington's defense was a little wonky, but I just look at targets and love Darnell Mooney, love Ray McLeod. Think those guys are really good. Darnell could be a really good guy to have as like a flex and could get you some 8 to 10 point games. But if we're being honest, I think Drake London has the biggest ability for me to jump. And I was also looking like just at ADP. Like Jamar proved it last year because he's a triple crown guy and he did it with T. Higgins being on the team. But I mean, CD's got George coming in. That could be an issue in terms of target share. Justin Jefferson, I know we're just all kind of crowning JJ, which even for me, even in some of my drafts I've been taking, like I just been taking flyers on him as a second quarterback. So I'm kind of, buying the juice, I guess. But even going down, it's like Puka, we'll see. Like I think Puka's still going to get targets. And I know that's Matt's guy, but there's another guy coming in there. I mean, he's not going to make my list for guys that I'm fading or guys who I think is going to outperform ADP. But Jameson Williams had a 1,000-yard receiving year last year. So to me, I feel like a lot of his issue has been like he just hasn't really been in the lineup. So if you're telling me you're going to get a full season of him focused and locked in, he's too talented not to eat into Amon-Ra's share. Now, if I'm talking about all those guys, I think Amon-Ra's the safest one. Like I still think he's going to eat the most. But I don't know with all these other guys that are above there. So then you're now getting to tell me like, well, there's Malik Neighbors. He's going to have a lot of targets, but we got to – unless, like, I'm more confident if Jameis was a quarterback, then I say, okay, Malik's going to get his target because Jameis is going to get you the ball. But Russell, like, I don't know. Like, I think Drake he'll get his targets, but I just feel like Drake in terms of production. And plus, too, Drake is also, I think I wrote down, he's got one of the highest red zone targets in, like, all of the NFL. Like, just with the simple fact of if they're inside the 10-yard line, of course, they're probably going to feed Bijan, but there's going to be a lot of go balls to that corner end zone. I think Drake's going to come down with it. So he also has a scoring threat, I think, that can get there. So I don't know. I know he's going to finish within the top 5. And I could maybe start arguing top 4. I don't think it's going to – because he had Kirk Cousins for a majority of the year last year and finished basically top 10. That says a lot. Yeah. And if you just look at the trend of Penix and how he was throwing him the ball and targeting him, like, and this from part of the reason why I'm also confident is I'm not buying into the Kyle Pitts hype. I'm not buying like, he's going to spread the ball around. Yeah, they'll target him, but I don't think it's going to be to no avail. The only person that's going to eat into his share is Bijan to me. With other guys, there's other receivers on those teams and guys I mentioned that I feel like could maybe affect it, especially with someone like George, because George, for example, is in a contract year. He's going to want to get his targets. And I know Dak is able to get guys, and also he's got Jake Ferguson. I forgot about him as another guy I'm always getting late. And Jake Ferguson just got paid, so he's going to want to get the ball too. So him and Sutton just actually got paid, even though Sutton's a receiver. But I don't know. I just feel like I just think it's confident. The only thing I feel like has ever held London back is like touchdown production. I don't think he's been high on touchdown. But like yards and targets, I think it's always been there. And wasn't he, I think pedigree-wise, we always talk about that, wasn't he the first receiver taken in his draft? I can't remember. Yep. So I think people –
in his draft class, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean –
Well, I got you a question though. You have him as projected top 4, top 5 wide receiver. Will you take him with a top 10 pick? Set that 10th pick.
So who would just get? Is there like a?
You're on the turn.
Yeah,
so you will not get him if you don't.
Then you're in a 10. You're a 10-man league. You're at the 10-11 turn, so maybe you get just smash him 10 or 11. But you got guys like AJ Brown, Brian Thomas.
I'm taking him over AJ. Yes, over Brian
AJ?
Thomas. Yeah,
and
Nico?
Brian Thomas.
Who?
Nico Collins.
That's a conversation. That's a conversation. But I'm probably still smashing.
And you
Drake
take him over Malik.
See, the thing with Malik is, to your point, I am nervous about the quarterback, but I also think it doesn't matter because he's gonna. Year. It's just like
Dimes, which is
he's gonna. It's the only reason why I would probably just take Malik because it's just seriously. I mean, I love Wan'Dale Robinson, but like it is, and their running backs, like their committee, I just don't know what other.
He's the only
real option he has. Yeah. Like it's really just him, and he really plays all over the field. Like Drake is limited. I'm not want to say he's limited because I don't think he's really a slot guy, but like Malik can line outside slot. Like you can put him anywhere. So that kind of opens up. And two, Malik is more apt to be in like if they do a trick play because just of his size and stature. So he's got a little bit more versatility. So yes, if you put a gun in my head, and this is a
so it cuts off at Nico.
Show, but Nico, I still would pick Drake just because.
Oh wow.
Then we're gonna talk about it, but like Higgins, it's a real deal. Like I think that's. It's not going to eat into Nico. And Nico's had injury problems. Like, hamstring was a thing. So, but I think Drake, just to close out with Drake, I just think he is just doing what he did with Kirk last year coming off an injury and he's still having the yards and stuff that he did just speaks to how talented he is. And I think I also am very high on Michael Penix. It just feels like it's going to be whatever. So, yes, if I'm at 10, I'm more likely taking him over a Brian Thomas Jr. or over a whoever else is at that, I guess, turn or whatever. So yes, I probably would take him top.
You could take them both.
Well, yeah. If I'm at the turn,
if you take Drake, if you want to take Drake London around his ADP, you have to have an early first round pick to get him on the 3 turn. Pretty much, that's what you have to get. You have to get the 2nd to 3rd round turn and pray that he's there.
No, I would not take him anything higher than 10. Like I'm not taking him. I'm not reaching on 9 or 8. No. I'm not doing that. But he's a first round. If it's a 10-man league, he's a first round pick to me. He's about that end pick.
Wow. That's a bold statement. I like it.
I like that
because he got the youth, you got the QB who's pass heavy. So there's a lot of changes in the situation. So, and as you mentioned, we finished the year really strong.
Yeah, that's a lot of targets. Really that's crazy.
I think him and Malik are the only two that garnered that many targets in a game last year.
In his last game, 18 targets.
That's
18 targets. 18 targets. 187.
So, and like I said, this is coming from a guy who has always historically gotten Darnell Mooney in every draft normally, except for last year. I think I got him off waivers, but like gotten him and be like, oh shit, he got me.
I think he'll still be good. So I think Penix, to your point, Bijan's going to eat, but Penix is a stand in there, throw at quarterback.
He's not running around.
I'm not saying, all right, I'm not going to compare this. But you remember Justin Herbert's season when he put up 5,000 yards?
Yeah. It was like his first
that's what they're going to ask him to do is be a stand in their quarterback.
That was one of the most legendary seasons ever.
Exactly. But that's their same play style. They're very similar, just different athletes. So one's a lefty, but they're both standing there, chuck it down the field quarterbacks, and that's pretty much what we could see if everything is clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, Drake is kind of fallen into. I think we don't really talk about him as. Like how we talk about Jettas, he just had different quarterbacks every year and he gets yards. Like Drake does that too. It's just not to the volume of Jettas. Like, because we all know that, it's not really even fair with Jamar Chase because he's got freaking Joe Burrow. But like a lot of guys, like some of those guys who are kind of got quarterback positions that are a little bit up and down, but they still produce yards, Drake does that. And I think with Kirk, I know he was established, but like who was the quarterback for Atlanta before Kirk got there? I can't even remember. Matt Ryan or was it somebody else?
Mariota.
Like
Desmond Ridder.
Mariota, Desmond Ridder. Like he was getting great games and getting over 1,000 yards with Ridder. So like that speaks to just whatever. I just think he's obviously not. I wouldn't take like if Jettas and him are on the board. Weirdly, I'm not taking London obviously, but it's like he's in that first round notch, and I think he could explode this year. So I don't know. We'll see. That is interesting though. That little if I get him at the turn and there's some receivers that. I would be super excited to have if I was able to get Drake London paired with another guy that we're about to talk about or another two guys that we like to talk about in Nico and Brian Thomas Jr. Two guys that are kind of on that, hey, they are bona fide receiver ones for their teams. Quarterback situations are still there. Familiarity is there. Very close in ADP. So, Zoo, I'm going to pass the ball to you in terms of which guy, if you have the chance to draft both, which guy are you going to take, Nico Collins or Brian Thomas Jr.?
I'm telling you, man, this question gave me anxiety, man, because this is a real life situation that can happen. Like, very realistically, if you have like from 10 to 14, and if you take an RB in the first round, you may want to pair it with a nice receiver one. This is a do or die decision because there is a right answer, but I don't really know what it is just by looking at the face of the value, right? So I'm just looking at basic Vegas projections, right? You know what? Brian Thomas is 1150. Nico Collins, 1150. They're projecting the exact same receiving yards. That doesn't really help me at all, right? That doesn't really help me at all. I'm like, okay, well, let's look at tutties, right? Both of them, 6.5 tutties. So they're projected for the same amount of touchdown and the same amount of receiving yards. So now I'm looking at them. Okay, Vegas not really giving me much difference because pretty much they got them in the same caliber tier receiver, right? Based on production. So I got to look at quarterback play, right? So that would I give the slight edge to CJ Stroud, where I'm going to give him a bounce back season. Like CJ Stroud last year, obviously that rookie, he had one of the best rookie seasons of all time. Last year, kind of regressed. Actually, kind of regressed a lot. Actually, like I was kind of shocked how much he regressed. But if you look at that situation, I feel like you get a new coach. I believe they hired a new offensive coordinator, right?
Down in Houston.
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember his name.
I believe they did.
So there was some shakeup in the coaching staff to become trying to help out the offense. So I'm looking at that situation with CJ Stroud relative to Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence also he got a new coach too.
Liam Cohen.
Liam Cohen, like Duvall, like they got a guy to try to step up that offense right now, and they amped up with Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. So they're trying to be more. I feel like they're going to try to win with offense because they ain't going to be with defense. Mm-hmm. Like you look at the Jaguars defense, like they're going to be chucking the football and trying to win games by scoring. Like I call it Bengals light because that's pretty much the formula they're doing. They're going to have to beat you with offense right there. So you're looking at two situations where they're going to have heavily rely on their offense in the quarterback situation. I think T-Law, he's a low-key QB bounce back candidate. I'm telling you right now, I'm not off the T-Law band. Like I'm especially this year.
I agree this year. I actually agree this year.
You can get them for free.
$250 million.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Pretty much.
Okay, fantasy I'm talking about now real life. If the real life Jaguars owner is paying a lot of money for T-Law, but in fantasy purposes, he's kind of a waiver quarterback if you're in a 10-man league. Even in a 12-man league, he might not even be drafted based on the other quarterbacks on the board. So you're looking at that situation. Like I feel like T-Law is going to have a new coach who's more offensively focused and hopefully more creative offense. And so then you could get a guy like Brian Thomas, who as a rookie had one of the best seasons I've ever seen, man. Some of that yak ability, I'm like, oh my Lord. Like some of that yak ability, he turns something like nothing into something. Like a normal receiver gets the ball, goes down. Brian Thomas is going for the hole every single time. Like some of these yak receivers, very Jamar Chase-ish, where just like he gets the ball, but he gets 10, 15, 20 yards after. But you can also say the same thing on Nico Collins, too. Yep. He's also that big receiver who could get the ball and run a lot. And we forget at the beginning of the season, he was wide receiver one in the first couple of games, I believe the first 4 games, and then he got injured, and it kind of derailed his season. But he was on a pace where, this guy has showed up like I might be the best receiver one. Like we always talk about those LSU boys and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but Nico Collins might not have that draft capital like making to NFL, but based on his production the last 2 years, like he kind of looks like that prototypical X receiver, super big, super fast, super strong. Like he's in that category too. So you got CJ Stroud relying more on him because obviously Tank Dell is out, so that's one of his favorite players. Obviously,
that's a big reason. Yeah,
they got some people coming in to help out with the roster with the rookie coming in, but you look at that situation with Nico Collins, like he's also a guy like this guy's coming into his prime season, like year 5, year 6. Like this is where receivers hit that pinnacle, right? Those are the years where you see the best of their season. So just based on that, the extra experience relative to Brian Thomas Jr., who's just a second-year guy, and the quarterback play, I give Stroud the quarterback play edge to T-Law. I'm going to go Nico Collins, but not gonna lie, Brian. I'm gonna have some sleepless nights passing on Brian Thomas because this guy, after this year, he might be a consensus first-round pick next year with those other LSU boys out there. Because The only difference between him, I don't even know. Like, what is really the difference between him and like a Justin Jefferson? Because if you even look at quarterback situation,
he's taller and faster, probably.
Exactly.
That's
like,
the difference.
Like this guy is like, why was he drafted later than those guys? I don't really know. I don't know.
Because he was behind Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. So maybe that's the reason why. But I'm looking at him, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this guy might be better because reality, like for a guy that
he's definitely got a higher ceiling, for sure.
Because for a guy that tall, running that fast, it's a little abnormal watching him play football. But
he
kind of looks like AJ Green, but fast. The body type is like AJ Green, but he's fast, way faster. Yeah,
he got burners on him. So, but I'm
great.
telling you, this is a realistic decision. And if you're looking at a receiver, good luck. But I'm going to slightly lean Nico Collins because of the CJ Stroud experience factor, and I think he's going to have a big bounce back season this year.
I'm going to agree with you, Zoo, and for all the reasons you just laid out, but also a couple things, man. That Joe Mixon news is a little unsettling.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at that backfield in Houston, man, you got an aging, injured Nick Chubb backing him up. Joe Ryan's making a couple comments, being like, it's good to have him in the locker room. You know, he's really progressed. You know, you can kind of see, you know, I'm not saying it's Shaquille O'Neal on the Boston Celtics, but, you know, it's you know, maybe the Phoenix Suns, right? So, you know, it's like, I hate to say that because Nick Chubb, you know, unbelievable player. I do really like the rookie that they drafted in Woody Marks, but he's a late flyer. He's like in those Kyle Manung guy for the Bears. Like, he's the third running back on your roster if everyone is healthy. I just don't see them relying on the running game as much as they were able to last year. I mean, people forget that their defense has been impeccable with DeMeco Ryans, right? Then you add in the fact that Joe Mixon ended up outside of a couple of weeks where he was injured. He was absolutely feasting last year. He was partially a league winner if he had stayed.
Yeah, he was
healthy, based on his ADP last year. And if he's hurt, man, they might let it fly with Jaden Higgins there. I think Jalen Noel is the other rookie that they drafted as well. So, you know, they got two fresh dudes in there to fill Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, respectively, for differing reasons. And you got Nico Collins there, man. I think the only thing, Zoon, you didn't mention it, man, is the injury issues. He's missed games the last 2 seasons, right? I think he missed 5 games last year. And surprisingly, when Stroud was cooking in 2023, I'm pretty sure he only started like 11 games, and he still put up 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. So, you know, you're like, okay, this guy is a productivity, but the injury does concern me a bit. I think that for me is offset, though, by the fact that if Travis Hunter is really what they say he is and he can play both sides of the field, there goes some targets for Brian Thomas Jr. Like, I'm not a ton. I'm not saying I'm not saying like he's going to gloss over. I'm sure T-Law will heavily be targeting Brian Thomas Jr., rightfully so. But if Travis Hunter is going to play solid snaps and consistently every single game, he has a dynamism as well to him. So I would be curious to see how much that would eat into, because I think Brian Thomas Jr. only had did he have 80 catches last year? How many catches did he have last year?
Probably somewhere in that range.
Like, I know that's not insane. And so for him to be only at 80.
87 receptions.
Yeah. He didn't even break 100. Now, I know T-Law was not having the best year last year, but he was literally he was like the Malik Neighbors for Jacksonville, right? He was and look at how many targets and catches.
The thing is, T-Law did like targeting Evan Ingram for some reason.
Evan Ingram was hurt most of last year.
Evan Ingram got a lot of targets.
Yeah, he gets targets, but, you know, then those targets are gone. Who's going to fill Travis Hunter, right? And so he's still only at 87 catches. So in full point PPR, there's a couple guys that I'm going over Brian Thomas Jr. But if you're just looking for between these two, I just think Nico Collins, they're the same player. They both have an explosiveness to them. But I agree with you. I just have to bet on Stroud over Lawrence, even though I do like Lawrence this year in a fresh system. It just scares me. And also, people forget, Brenton Strange. I know it's a random name, tight end on the Jaguars.
Tight end, yeah.
He got a lot of targets from Trevor Lawrence last year. Maybe it's just a tight end thing for Trevor Lawrence, you know, I just think Brian Thomas Jr. might regress a little. I don't know if he gets 10 touchdowns. I think that's the big thing for me.
All right, so go ahead. You was about to say.
I'm not gonna lie, your injury thing, that did give me a little hesitation because he has been banged up especially for a receiver, not getting like 16, 17 game seasons and having multiple years where he doesn't play all the games. That is concerning.
Yeah,
that is concerning.
but he's just the true number one. And they had drafted Jaden Higgins, and I get that, but he's going to need some time. And Stroud likes the dudes that he has reps with, right? And Nico Collins is the one that he has that with. That's still left on the team. So I'm going to lean Nico here, but I am not unhappy if someone takes Nico right before I plan to take him, and I can take Brian Thomas Jr. that next pick.
Yeah, I kind of figured that we would kind of hint around, I guess, the backups with both of these guys, or not backups, but receiver twos. But it really, to me, comes down to, because to Zoo's point, like, they pretty much are the same receiver, and Vegas looks at them as the same receiver. But it basically boils down to your receiver twos. Like, how do you value Travis Hunter and how do you value Jaden Higgins? And for me, when I was going back and forth and thinking about it, because I was also struggling with it, I was like, Nico almost kind of maybe feels like a surer bet, because when he's been healthy, it feels like CJ and him have a really good synergy. And it's just, Nico could get a 1,500-yard, 12 touchdown season. That feels like that is more likely than Brian Thomas doing it, especially just coming off how Trevor played last year. Now, Trevor, to your point, he's free basically, so he could have a bounce back and he got paid whatever. That could be a possibility. But I'm also looking at it why right before the pod, I had Nico. And then, like, as you guys was talking in the first segment, I was like, I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas strictly because I do think that Travis Hunter is going to be an impactful receiver. But I don't know if he is going to be as impactful as I think Jaden Higgins can be. Because just looking at his stats, like, okay, Iowa State, we get it, Big 12, everybody understands it. But, like, he went for 1,183 yards and 9 touchdowns as a senior last year. Like, and he only had really 2 years, and the year before that, he went for 983. Now, I know that's college, whatever, and I don't know who the quarterback was because it definitely wasn't Brock Purdy. But to me, it's like, let's kind of look at a guy who profiles as like the 6'3", 6'4" big receiver. Tank Dell's not there. I know the other guy you're talking about, the rookie. I don't even know who that was, so I don't think he's going to really factor in as being, he's a bona fide weapon for them. I do think there's a possibility that he could, like, nibble, not bite and eat into his snap share with Nico. But I think he can nibble into it versus with Travis. If it's true that he's going both ways, which I kind of think it's a little fool's gold, I think he's going to be a receiver that may go on defense on certain packages. Yep. But even still, like, that kind of just takes away from your value if you're really going to be playing on the other side of the field, because that could be it. That could be a chance that you can get injured doing something, whatever, on defense, making a tackle or doing whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he will eat into the Brian Thomas share as much. And to Zoo's point, Brian Thomas, and I think maybe just because he's quiet also too, I don't really hear, because as a receiver, you don't really hear much about him at all, just social media wise. I don't see him at a bunch of the events. I don't see him on different commercials. Like, I see Malik Neighbors everywhere. I see Justin Jefferson everywhere. I see Jamar Chase everywhere. Nico, I don't see him everywhere either. You don't see Nico either. You're right. You're right. And that might be because I think he's a Michigan man. They might be built a little bit different, but I don't know. I digress. Harbaugh guy. But what's crazy is he is a little Brian Thomas. I'm saying he is a little, because even coming out, dude, like Malik was, I think, ranked higher, and he also falls in line with that prototypical what they were at LSU is really their receivers' height range is always at 6'1". Justin Jefferson's kind of really been the tallest one, but like that 6'1", 6 foot, Odell 2, 5, all in that range, just do it all. They don't really have a slot position. They just do it all, and they're in that framework. So they kind of get featured in LSU a lot. Brian Thomas, I felt like, was one of those ones where he was highly rated. Now, he wasn't as high as those guys, but he had – reason why he was as highly rated as high as he was because he had the – they were seeing the skill set and just the testing numbers throughout the camp. So it's like, this is a little different. Like, if he gets it all together, because sometimes with those guys in college, it takes them a while and they don't really put it all together. But to your point, he kind of put it together in that last season. He was just overshadowed by Malik. And two, again, Malik was popular and he's the guy who everybody's going to. But yeah, he's one of the ones where if he gets it, he could not only be like the number one receiver for that team. And in that, he could be a top 3 to 4 guy annually. Because it's like you just can't teach 6'4", 195, 200 blazing speed. Because at that point, you can't do nothing with him. You can't do nothing with that.
So is he better than Drake London?
No.
I know. You just said top 3, top 4. So I was like, you said top 4, top 5 for Drake. So I'm like,
for sure. But Drake, again, and I know you don't. T-Law, you might be in on this year, but I know you don't like T-Law. T-Law to me has been a little too hot and cold. So it's like, Brian, I need more. If T-Law is going to be inconsistent, I need Brian Thomas to have 2 more years of just getting 1,000 yards. And it's like, okay, it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. Drake London has proven, like, Desmond Ridder, freaking Kirk Cousins off an Achilles, and now Michael Penix is a rookie. Drake London going to get his yards. So, but I will say, just player for player, if we're doing raw athlete, Brian Thomas is a superior athlete. He's different. He's very different. I'm trying to think of, like, Jamar Chase is obviously different. I mean, if we really want to, and this may be sacrilegious, but like, I think he's a better athlete than Jettas, bro. Like, Jettas, I don't think is like a worldly, like, oh God, it's like, oh, Jettas is more, he's a better route runner. I think Jettas is a way better route runner, but just raw athlete, I think it's Chase, him, who else? Like, just raw athlete at the position. It's just like, oh, he can take it 75 or do whatever at that size is the point.
Nico.
So, yeah, Nico's another, he's not a slouch. I think,
dude, he sprints. You don't know how many 70-yard touchdowns he's had with CJ Stroud? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I think it's just what Brian, and I also, too, just full disclosure, I'm always too enamored with guys who I feel like, oh, he has a chance to break out. So I sometimes always tend to lean that way. Yeah. And that sometimes bites me in the butt. In
same,
fantasy,
dude.
but
same.
It's just like,
I'm always early, man. I'm always
early like, who can I? Now they're so close that you're not fooling anybody thinking, oh, I'll be able to get him 2 picks later. Because if Nico gets taken, Brian Thomas Jr. is probably getting taken right behind him. So you're not saving a pick, and you're not going to be able to get him 4 picks later. Like, you got to use your brain now and understand that if you take either, you're not getting the other one unless you trade for him. So it's, I just kind of know that's just how it goes in fantasy. But yeah. But you can't go wrong. I think both guys, if you get them, yeah, they're obviously receiver ones, and they're going to be bona fide. And like I said, if Trevor gets it together with, who is it, Liam Cohen? He's the head coach, right?
Yeah.
Head coach. Yeah. If he gets it together with Liam, it could work. So, unfortunately, we had to go into the last part of this podcast and talk about guys, as usual, who we are fading. So, Peebush, who are the 1, 2, 3, whoever guys that you're just like, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat, man. At wide receiver 25, I am not touching Xavier Worthy. I'm so sorry. I'm just getting that.
Yeah, I've been on that forever. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's as obvious.
I don't get it.
Really outperforming his ADP. But it's actually kind of hard because for the first time in a long time, I know last year, and Sean, we were all talking about that. Last year everyone was getting wide receiver happy, the 0 RB strategy, all that. It kind of simmered down this year, but I'm actually okay with how most of the wide receivers are priced in like the top, I'd say 20. I do think Davante Adams is a little bit of a reach at
That's mine.
16, but I'll let you talk about him. So I'm a pick. Yeah. They're all right in a row here that I don't. T. Higgins, I'm sorry, I love T, but he's not wide receiver 13. I honestly really think this whole thing from Tyreek Hill at 12, T. Higgins at 13, JSN at 14, Terry McLaurin at 15, and Davante Adams at 16. I'll talk about Terry because I just think he's going to regress on touchdowns. I mean, look at it. He's had 5 straight years. I get it, of 1,000 yards. Congratulations. He's barely broke 1,100 and had 0.
He got a real quarterback now. He got a real quarterback.
Okay, yeah, and he still he didn't even break 1,100. He didn't even break 11.
Chemistry. Got to give him a year. And they were still a great duo.
Yeah, well, you tell that to the team who needs to give him a contract, right? Because that's my other issue. Debo's there now. Screw Debo. He's valued properly now in ADP 90. All right, he's not in the 5th round anymore and gonna screw me over. But Terry, it's more of the touchdown regression. I'm pretty sure he was catching a touchdown like 1 every 6 balls he was catching. Like, that's ridiculous.
It was pretty crazy.
I'm sorry. And once again, we got to take into account, look at all the sophomore slumps we've seen quarterbacks have over the last few years. Cam Newton had one years ago. We were just talking about CJ Stroud. Justin Herbert had a big sophomore slump as well. So, I'm not saying Jaden Daniels is going to be, horrible. I would even kind of say that CJ Stroud was horrible last year for year over year, 23 into 24. I'm not saying he'll make that drastic of a decline, but I just don't think Terry, for the yardage that he puts up, I don't think he can sustain 13 touchdowns. And if you're going to be priced in at wide receiver 15 and you're only giving me barely 1,100 yards, I can get that with Cortland Sutton 10 picks later, damn near. So, I'm going to pass on Terry at that price. I'll just briefly say, JSN, I'm just nervous about Darnold outside of the Kevin O'Connell, right? We talked about him being the quarterback whisperer. That's my only concern with him. I don't think Kupp's going to really eat into his that much.
I forgot about Kupp.
I would argue that Kupp won't eat as much of JSN compared to Davante, who might eat into Puka a little bit more. But people forget Puka is the highest targeted player in the league when he's on the field. So, that's another reason for Davante. So it's just kind of that range right there. That it's like a dead zone for wide receivers at a time in the draft when I want to kind of be taking my first wide receiver. And it's been very difficult for me to break that down. So for me, Terry's, I think, the biggest one that I would pass on outside of T. Higgins being at his price as a true wide receiver too. But it is Joe Burrow. So, who knows? But yeah, Terry's just not my guy this year. And maybe I'll eat those words. Who knows?
Now I gotta say this. I think the receivers are pretty well valued.
Yeah.
From the tier selection of the groupings, but I'm gonna go a little middle tier. I'm gonna fade to your man DJ Moore.
Really?
Yes. Oh man, that hurts.
It hurts. Wow. I'm telling you, DJ. I'm just saying this out of the. Who knows? He's wide receiver 1 after this year, man. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Because you could get a guy, a former rookie last year. You get him a couple of rounds later. A true X receiver versus DJ Moore. I just don't know. You may not a doomsday 2 rounds later than DJ Moore.
Who's the Amon-Ra in the offense?
I don't know who it is. It might be the other rookie. That's the thing. I don't know how this offense is going to work. Right.
Yeah, I don't either.
I feel like this is.
I'm kind of fading all Bears.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you got everyone's excited, obviously Ben Johnson, this guy's a play calling genius. He's going to get pretty creative, and I feel like he's got all these toys. He's going to play around with everyone. So I don't feel like one guy is going to get force fed the ball with targets and receptions, especially in the beginning of the year, and see what. Yeah, he's talking about this tight end he's like the second coming. This guy.
And they drafted him first. Yeah, he was the first tight end.
They drafted him with a top 10 pick. So. They put some draft equity in a tight end, which is that's not a normal thing going that high on a tight end. So the way you talk about that guy, so Colston Love, maybe he becomes fighting for target share right now. So I just feel like there's a lot of different mouths to feed right now.
Yeah,
I don't really know how the target share are going to break down. Some of the comments, DJ Moore blocking, I don't know his attitude. Sometimes DJ Moore's attitude, I feel like he's kind of he's not a team guy.
Diva.
Yeah, there's something about it. I'm you're not that good to be having that type of attitude. You ain't that good. You ain't you can act like a hooligan like Tyreek Hill because that dude's dropping 1,900 yards. Jamar Chase can have an attitude, but you're DJ Moore. You're kind of a second wide receiver. So I think that whole Bears receiving room, I don't really know what is going on, but I'm gonna take a bet on Doomsday or even maybe the rookie tight end if he wants to get some Bears shares right there to get some of their pass catching game. But do you project Caleb Williams to throw for? I would even say 3,600 passing yards. 3,700.
I'd say the only 2 guys on the Bears I'm willing to draft are Caleb as your QB2 and DeAndre Swift as your RB3.
DeAndre Swift?
Yep.
Yeah. So the offensive side of the ball, they should be better than last year because you can't get any worse than last year's play call and coaching. So they're having a coaching upgrade. Hopefully they have a play calling upgrade. So pretty much someone's gonna be successful in this passing attack, but looking right now, I don't think DJ Moore is that guy right now. And if you're looking around the receivers there, I'm taking DK Metcalf over DJ Moore.
I agree with that.
I'm taking DK Metcalf. I know exactly.
I like DK's value.
Aaron Rodgers loves force feeding his ball.
Devontae Smith.
Devontae, he's a receiver too. So my thoughts on receiver.
I'd take Sutton over DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, I already know his role. They gave him the big money, $90 million. He got his big money, and that offense outside of Cortland Sutton is not much else. We know exactly what his role in that offense is. We saw that very clearly last year.
1,206 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking guys like that. It's not gonna in this range. I'll probably lean more running back than receiver because
in that range,
the elite receivers these blue chip receivers where you get 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns, you ain't going to find those guys in these later picks. And I would say in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, finding a wide receiver 1 over there, extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. So I might even pivot and go for more of the QB tight end position. I'm not a big tight end early, but
I'm jumping off the boat now. I'm jumping.
You take tight end early. Travis Kelce again.
If you give me in the
go have a blast.
60th pick,
70
take
pick, and
DJ.
I see Travis Kelce or DJ Moore. Oh, give me Kelce.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
about
I got
that.
burned by Kelce last year,
No.
like very burnt, like third degree burn. But based on his cost, I might pivot in positions instead of getting this wide receiver 2, 3-ish, where I kind of don't like kind of start weeks. I kind of have to start, but I don't want to. Like, I'm never gonna be excited to start DJ Moore.
Give me Noah Gray over Travis Kelce at this point.
I'm looking at guys like I'd rather take Njoku or something. Than
Oh,
Travis Kelce.
okay. Now the disrespect has gone too far.
Hawkinson.
The Cleveland Browns. No, I am not drafting any Cleveland Browns over
take
Travis
Hawkinson.
Kelce. Who?
Hawkinson.
TJ
I might
Hawkinson.
take Ferguson. I might take Ferguson.
No.
He's gonna have a lot of targets.
Not with Pickens.
Ferguson just got paid like an elite tight end, so he's getting
We
targets.
gotta stop the
Just because you get paid, Sean, does not mean you're elite. Trevor Lawrence.
That was touche.
We gotta stop the disrespect.
Yeah, that is.
Well, you know who
I'm
does need to get
joking,
paid?
obviously, but I'm just. Go ahead.
Washington does need to pay Terry McLaurin, because if they pay him, I'm a
Yeah, they
little
do.
bit more into it, because part of the reason I don't like him is that there's contention with him and the team too. They could trade him. He could be traded
Well, that would just
at
be
some point,
crazy.
which would
That would
be
be
so dumb.
such a bad look for your
Yeah.
franchise quarterback and trading away his
Seriously,
best
yeah.
weapon
Horrible.
where they clearly have chemistry.
Correct.
Unless they got like Juwan
It's like,
Jennings
who's
back or
receiver
something,
2 then?
but-
Like,
Who
Debo.
is it? He's not really.
There's a rookie though. I've been seeing on just watching on Instagram and stuff. This guy named Jalen Lane. I think he went 5th round. He's been pretty good. They've been showing a lot of his stuff. But yeah, depending on him early in the season, like we always talk about, it takes a transition. No, I wouldn't depend on him early. But if they were to trade him, it better be for another receiver. That's like
can't
I don't.
trade
It doesn't have to be as good as him, but it needs to be like somebody good.
Mhm.
But yeah, like so. I'm with you, people, in terms of just like that cluster, because I was looking at that when I was looking at guys to fade. Like everybody is kind of valued where they need to be valued, but it's like I'm looking at now. It's like once you get into that, because I'm very high on Lab McConkey, but once you get into that Higgins, Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, all that, it got me to when I was looking at Davante Adams, and I think the perception around him is, oh, he got traded or whatever, he's got signed with the Los Angeles Rams, and it's like, listen, he's gonna but he's gonna unite with Matthew Stafford, and Matthew Stafford is gonna revive his career. I know he's 32 years old, but I even was seeing on some of the reviews, people are talking about the pros of Davante Adams, and they were saying, look, guys, this is potentially a guy who's gonna floor is receiver 2, and he could sneak as receiver 1. And I was like, have you guys watched the Rams and how they treat Puka Nacua? Like, unless he's just shot, like how Cooper Kupp was a couple year ago, that is Matthew Stafford's guy. I don't think there's any possible way that Davante can even sniff like fringe receiver 1. I think the floor is receiver 3, and I think at the apex he's maybe receiver 2. Like, I just don't see it. Yeah, I just don't, and I really don't, and it's hard for me to even believe that because of the target of what Puka Nacua gets. Like Puka is the guy for Stafford. It's just that's what it is. If Davante was on any other team, I would buy like he could be just a consistent receiver too. But I just need to see it. I gotta see Davante being in a space where it's the fourth quarter and he's got 6 for 100 yards or he's got 10 for 80. Like I need to see that because I think if the game is closer or in any type of they're up or down, the ball's going to Puka.
Yep.
That's just Matthew likes him. So I just don't see like if I'm looking at other guys. I mean, Marvin Harrison, I'm staying away from, but it's like I see but yeah, I'd rather have Garrett Wilson. I'm seeing like Mike Evans is right below Davante. I would take Mike Evans. I even would take a shot on Rashee Rice because, like, I know when he comes back,
I don't know
is
the
receiver number 1. He's only got like 3 games though, ain't it? It's not like it's not a lot.
It was 5. Or
I'm out.
Confirmed, but
Zeus PTSD from being screwed early in a fantasy season, and then he has to claw his way out. Man, can't be drafting Rashee Rice if you need that.
No.
Yeah, if it's 5, I'm out. If it's 5, I'm definitely out. But if it's 2 or 3, then I'll take a chance on that. But to your point, then like DJ Moore, Davante, I would take DK. To what Zeus' point, I would definitely take DK. I would definitely take Cortland Sutton. You're losing me at Davante. You're losing me at Xavier, Zay, and then Jameson. Yeah, but to me, it's like I just don't like. Yeah, Ted McMillan he's enticing. I mean, heck, if you're gonna say that, well then, heck,
George Pickens.
Why him too? But why would I not just take Jameson Williams? Like they got a whole new offense, and I think there's going to be an emphasis of getting both of those receivers involved. Because if we're looking at big playability, I think Jameson has that in that range in terms of, he could shoot up. Like, he got 1,000 yards, and he's been a knucklehead his first. And Jameson, if you're listening, like, it's just obvious. Like, you've had a rough couple of first years, but if he can consistently lock in and be there from start to finish, he's easily a 1,200-yard receiver, and he can get way more targets and score. He has the ability to score bigger plays. Now, I do think Amon-Ra's still going to be the target king, but Jameson could definitely eat into that. So when you're talking about Davante, I still think the pedigree is there, but I just don't think it's going to be this share of where it's like, 60-40 or 55-45. I don't see that. I think it's going to be like 70 Puka, and if Davante happens to be open on Matthew Stafford's third read, then he's throwing it to him. I just don't see him eating into Puka's share. Unless Puka's shot or something. I don't see that.
No, Puka's definitely not shot. Puka
he's fine.
One of the best rookie starts ever.
Like Puka is I think it's crazy. Like Puka's right. Like, I mean, I get it. I mean, I think Puka's like him being, at least on here on Fantasy Pros, I'm looking like CD's ahead of Puka. Like, I don't even think that's a conversation. Like, I think Puka's obviously going to have a better year than CD.
Wow.
I think.
Oh, wow. That's a
George Pickens, like, we just talked about that. Like, I don't.
That's the thing. Dak could feed both guys because they have no run game. Like, who's their running back? Javonte Williams?
Watch him just have a random breakout here.
Miles Sanders, like two.
Well, he did have what was it, 2 years ago? He was really good, Javonte.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been a while.
That's the thing. Like, they got two whatever running backs, so they're going to be throwing the ball like every.
Who do you think eats more, Pickens or Davante?
Davante Adams. In a Sean McVay offense, they brought him in there for a reason. They're like Cooper Kupp. This guy's
to me, I think you can think about it.
No,
to me,
Davante Adams or George Pickens. Davante Adams. Davante Adams in the red zone is unreal.
I'll take the guy in a contract year. I'll take.
That's
Pickens.
what I think the main biggest.
George Pickens.
Pickens gonna.
Dude. Okay. Hear me out. I know. Or in the red zone, who are they giving the ball to in Los Angeles? Kyron Williams and
Davante Adams.
Kyron Williams and
I'm telling you, Davante Adams is a red zone dude.
Not anymore.
Yes, he is. Like, even last year, he was really
Aaron
productive for a guy.
With Aaron Rodgers,
he can do the same fade route with Matthew Stafford. He can make the same throw.
I'm not saying
over the back shoulder. He can do that every time. One-on-one coverage. You got Puka other side, Davante one side. And one thing Puka has been awesome at, one thing he's not been awesome at is scoring touchdowns. He gets all the catches, he gets all the receiving yards, but in the red zone, he doesn't really get touchdowns. And if you're looking at the second option outside the running it in, Davante Adams is that receiver. Like, this guy has potential to get, especially in an offense with the Rams, if Stafford's healthy, of course, Davante Adams can get 10-plus receiving touchdowns.
You're high on Davante Adams this year.
He can get touchdowns. I don't know about, like, the yards and the catches and everything, but he is a touchdown guy.
So and he's George like Rashad Bateman?
Last year. What? Stop.
He had 9 touchdowns last year.
He did have a lot of touchdowns.
He had 9 touchdowns.
Boomer bust. He's a definition of boomer bust.
So, but that's the thing is, are you taking Davante Adams as what?
He's going as a receiver too right now. He's a receiver too.
High end.
High end. I think he's high end receiver too, and his floor could be receiver 3.
Round. Are you taking Davante Adams in the 3rd round? Like Omari and Hampton's there. You taking him
the 3rd? I'm taking him in the 4th.
Hell yeah, get him. You're not getting Davante Adams. You're going to overdraft him. So if you really want Davante Adams, you better take him in the 3rd. I don't think you're going to be there in the 4th. That's the point. Like, I think he's being And you're going to take Omari and Hampton over Davante Adams. Exactly. So you're picking Davante Adams.
That's my point. Is every time I've been picking around Davante Adams, I'm not shooting for a wide receiver at that time. So I just pass on him because I'm like, okay, I don't need that. I'd rather just wait around and take Garrett Wilson, who's the bona fide wide receiver one, and a guy that he's only going to be the one fed. So and he's 2 spots behind him. You could even argue Marvin Harrison Jr. could probably outscore Davante Adams this year.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I can see that.
Yeah. And they're right around the same, and they're both younger. So it's like Davante could get injured. It is possible.
The thing is, something about Sean McVay offenses, they just produce fantasy guys.
If Stafford's healthy.
Yeah, that's true. He had a little back thing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
if you look at Sean McVay offenses, it just produce fantasy guys because they just force feed the ball to their best players. And puts them in situations where they can succeed. Like, we've seen that year after year after year with Sean McVay guys, and Davante Adams and Sean McVay guy. They let Cooper Kupp go for this guy.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that just because Cooper Kupp was a scrub. They did that because they thought Davante Adams still had a lot of juice left in him, and Cooper Kupp didn't have that much juice left.
Was Puka and Cooper outside of last year? I guess was there ever a year where they both was healthy playing? Like,
Yeah,
I wonder what the target share.
His first year.
Like what that target share was for both of those guys. Because I feel like after even during Puka's rookie year, they was targeting the hell out of him. So it's like I wonder if they were both viable. To your point, because I'm with you on the touchdowns with Davante, but it's just like that. Then if you're telling me that's scary because it's like they're going to be in the red zone, but it's like Kyron better be kind of maybe on his last leg, and it's like I still think there's just a possibility that if we're in the red zone, I still think it's the pecking order is going to be Kyron, Puka, then Davante. I think
Puka had 100. The year they overlapped, Puka had 160 targets, 105 catches, 1,500 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp had 95 targets, 59 catches, 740 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I'm telling you, he also loves throwing to their tight end. They just drafted a tight end too in Terrence Ferguson to back up Tyler Higbee, who's in the last year of his contract as well.
I'm gonna ask y'all really quickly.
It's a very balanced offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm just not buying a fringe receiver one. Just miss me with that. Okay?
He's
receiver
not going
2
as a receiver 1 though. He's going as a receiver 2. Receiver 2, but receiver 2.
I feel like he's going as a receiver 2, and there's a real possibility he could be a mid to low receiver 2 and possibly receiver 3. And it's just like, is it worth it at that point? I don't think it's going to be the higher end of where he's a mid to high receiver 2 and fringe 1. I just don't think it's going to be that trajectory, but I could be wrong. Would you rather?
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, it's all you.
Just really quickly, I'm looking at like second receivers. Who would you rather have, Jameson or Davante Smith?
What,
Jameson Williams or Davante Smith?
Yeah.
Jameson Williams, the passing game coordinator under Ben.
That's what I feel like. And Davante,
Davante Smith is just that offense. You got Saquon. Like, you're going to give the ball to Saquon. You're going to give the ball to Saquon.
He doesn't score enough.
Yeah, and I feel like AJ is such a target hog. But it's like that's speaking to my point. Jameson, I really do think out of that guys, like if we're looking at like obviously Mike Evans is the institution. I'm not really worried about him. And like DK, I think is higher than Sutton. But like when you talk about the Davante, Xavier, Zay, Jameson, Travis Hunter, McMillan, Pickens, and then if you're like even going up to Davante, Marvin Harrison, I think Jameson could jump to where it's like, oh wow, like he's right there with like Cortland Sutton or a guy we just overvalued, or even just like a DK, like, oh, this is a guy who's getting a lot of targets. Because I just think Jameson has a great profile. Like he was also another one that people forget that he was at Ohio State and was in line because of his talent, and he just could not get on the field and went to Alabama and showed out. Yep. So his talent has always been there. He's just been, I think people are gun shy because obviously he just hasn't been the best person on the field and off the field. It's just they can't trust him. So Amon-Ra's going to eat. But Jameson, if they're not doing stupid gadget plays that they did, I think in that playoff game where he's throwing passes and doing stupid stuff, I think he has the potential to be really good. Like I'd rather wait on him and to your point, take Omari and Hampton and then see if I can get him maybe a little bit later. I would rather wait to do that than take a Davante, miss an Omari on, and then I don't know who, like taking a rookie receiver or whatever. But
we're taking like the Brian Thomas Jr. and Nico Collins. That's a legitimate argument, right? Because they're right next to each other in the draft board. But when you're saying, all right, do you want Davante Adams on your team? I look at who else is around him just in the draft board. No, I don't think I can do that.
And I could be wrong because, to your point, Aaron Rodgers has been his quarterback. It has been weird because he's been injured, and he does have a real quarterback with Matthew Stafford. Like Matthew Stafford has the ability to give him the ball. Yeah. So I think the targets could definitely be there, but I'm kind of double talking because on one hand, I'm saying I'm kind of gun shy with Jameson because of how he's been active, but even with Davante, I'm coloring my glasses because of how his quarterback situation has been. So I don't know. Yeah. I think if like Davante was, I don't know if he just showed well, but I don't know. Like I said, it just proves to the point that section of receiver and that like just 12 to where you really are just rolling the dice and hopefully hitting that maybe one of those guys could produce at a high receiver 2 level. But you just keep going down. It's like, dude, even like Calvin Ridley, like this, that's just great value. Like all that is, you can wait, to your point. Like I know double receiver and stuff is kind of popular, but running backs that came back. But man, it's nice. Now I'm not if you're looking at Jerry Jeudy, but even Jerry Jeudy, dude, it's like I had him last year. I know he doesn't have a quarterback, but dude, he is getting to the point where he is like the light version of Justin Jefferson. Like he's not as talented, but like he has just produced. Like he was producing with Jameis Wilson and like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Like he was getting open and getting catches. It's crazy. So it's like if any of those quarterbacks in Cleveland are decent, I don't know who's going to be the starter, but like
if it's Flacco, maybe.
Jeudy is like an elite flex option. I love him as a flex.
I got to shout out. We didn't talk about this one at all, and I do just need to say this, but I'm very intrigued about Michael Pittman this year.
Oh, he's going for free right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about him. It's probably because Josh Downs is getting the hype.
He's like in the 100. Yeah, Josh Downs is getting all the hype, and rightfully so. I like Josh Downs a lot. But, I mean, Michael Pittman Jr., where is he in ADP? I bet he's
I don't even know.
Oh, he's in the hundreds. 120,
wide receiver
124.
Wide receiver 46. Could be intriguing. Could be intriguing this year. Yeah.
It's all going to depend on the quarterback. If Daniel Jones is the starter, then
right? They haven't announced the
then
starter,
it's probably
right? Yeah, they're fighting
it could
for
be
a quarterback job.
If Jones is the starter, it's probably a safe bet that Pittman overperformed. But if Richardson is the starter because of his rushing ability, I don't know. You might have to downgrade all the receivers there because it's just
except for
Daniel Jones is a runner too, but he ain't running like Anthony. So yeah, it really depends. And it's probably a real possibility that Daniel Jones is the starter. So you might be getting really good value on Michael Pittman.
Comeback player of the year, boys. Let's go, Daniel Jones.
Tyler Warren too. That would boost. That's another guy's like that could boost your value with trying to draft him maybe later rounds as a tight end if Daniel Jones is the starter because you know he'll be able to give the ball. So I don't know. Like I said, these pass catchers, man, we can debate all day about them. I think it's the good thing about it is there's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways to actually win your league if you draft right, or maybe have a scenario where you're drafting running backs early and then you want to do a receiver later type draft. If you're drafting right and pick the right guys, you could definitely make it work. So make sure you guys are tuned into our podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Quantrell Knows, Tyson Talks _ on our Instagram, Tyson Talks _ on our Facebook, Tyson Talks _ on our TikTok. Make sure you're subscribing, giving us a thumbs up or review so we can get in the algorithms. And for me, Zoo and P. Bush, we are